Here's a strange fact about money. The exact same force that can quietly turn a small savings habit into a fortune can also, running in the other direction, trap a person in debt for 20 years over a single shopping trip. It's not greed, and it's usually not even bad luck. It's a piece of mathematics, exponential growth, and on a credit card, that math has been carefully aimed so that it works against you. Let me show you the trap, exactly how it's built, and, just as importantly, how to climb out of it. It always starts the same friendly way. A tap or a swipe, and you walk out with the thing. No cash left your hand, nothing felt lost. That frictionless little moment is the whole point. A credit card is designed to make spending feel weightless. But you didn't buy that item. The bank did. What you actually took home was a loan. And unless you pay it back in full within a few weeks, that loan starts charging you one of the highest interest rates in all of consumer finance. Now here's the part that quietly baffles millions of people. They're responsible. Every single month, they pay what the statement asks, the minimum payment. And yet, month after month, the balance at the top barely moves. It feels like bailing water out of a boat with a leak you can't see. So where is all that money actually going? Let's follow one payment. Take the average American balance, about $6,600, at a typical rate of around 22% a year. The minimum payment on that is roughly $189. It feels like a real dent. Watch where it goes. Of that $189, about $123, nearly 2/3, vanishes instantly as interest. It never touches what you owe. Only about $66 actually pays down the balance. You handed over $189, and your debt shrank by $66. That gap, month after month, is the trap doing its work. And it can get worse than slow. The interest charged each month is a percentage of whatever you still owe. So if the payment you make is smaller than the interest that just piled on, something genuinely unsettling happens. Your balance goes up, even though you paid. You did everything right, you sent money, and the number you owe is larger than it was last month. Financiers have a clinical name for this: negative amortization. Most people just experience it as a rising panic that they can never seem to catch up. This is the picture of debt that grows while you feed it. To feel the raw power of the exponential, imagine the worst case. You stop paying entirely and just let it sit. On a card, the debt doesn't grow by a fixed number of dollars. It grows by a percentage of an amount that keeps getting bigger. That's what makes it exponential. And exponentials don't add. They double. There's a beautiful shortcut for doubling time called the rule of 72. Just divide 72 by the interest rate. At 22%, 72 divided by 22 is about 3. So an untouched balance doubles in roughly 3 years. On a store card at 31%, it doubles in barely 2. That's say 15% today. Offer at the register can double your debt before the couch you bought has gone out of style. So back to our responsible person dutifully paying the minimum on that $6,600 balance. How long until they're free? Not 1 year. Not 5. If they only ever pay the minimum, it takes about 21.5 years to clear it. 21 years for one balance if they never charge another thing. And along the way, they'll have paid more than $11,000 in interest on top of the original $6,600. That's the real price tag. You pay roughly 2.5 times what you bought, and you pay it for 2 decades. The minimum payment isn't a suggestion to be responsible. It's the slowest, most expensive schedule the bank will legally allow. If it feels hopeless, here is the twist. And it's genuinely good news. The very same exponential that trapped you turns into a superpower the moment you push against it. Because most of the minimum was interest, almost every extra dollar you add lands directly on the principal, where it does enormous work. Watch that. Instead of the shrinking minimum, pay a flat $200 a month, just $11 more than that first minimum payment. The payoff time collapses from 21 years to about 4, and the interest drops from over $11,000 to under $4,000. $11 extra a month buys back 17 years of your life and roughly $7,500. That is the same math, simply aimed in your favor. And to be clear, this isn't a rare story about a few reckless people. Americans now carry about $1.3 trillion in credit card debt, the highest total ever recorded. Roughly half of all cardholders carry a balance from month to month, rather than paying in full. In a single year, card companies collected around $160 billion in interest, up from $105 billion just 2 years earlier. And around 15 to 20% of cardholders pay only the minimum, month after month, sitting squarely in the slowest lane of that 21-year road. This is a machine operating at national scale, and it runs on the same little arithmetic we just watched. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If the minimum payment is such a bad deal, why do so many careful, intelligent people quietly accept it? Part of the answer isn't about money at all. It's about how our minds are nudged. A psychologist named Neil Stewart showed something remarkable. Simply printing a minimum payment figure on a statement causes people to pay less than they otherwise would. The number acts as an anchor, a silent suggestion that this amount is somehow the right amount to pay. Add our natural habit of discounting future pain to feel fine today, and you get a system where the default, easy choice is also the most expensive one. The trap isn't only in the math. It's in the design of the page you're looking at. So, how do you actually get out? The good news is that the exits are well mapped. If you're juggling several debts, 2 strategies work. The avalanche attacks the highest interest rate first, which saves you the most money. The snowball clears the smallest balance first, which gives you a quick win and the momentum to keep going. Either one beats drifting along at the minimum. You can also move the debt somewhere it can't grow. A 0% balance transfer card pauses the interest entirely for a year or more, usually for a small one-time fee, turning that relentless compounding off while you actually pay down what you owe. You can simply call and ask your bank for a lower rate. They say yes more often than you'd think. And the ultimate defense, if you can manage it, pay the statement in full each month. Do that, and the grace period makes the card genuinely free. The trap needs a carried balance to spring. So the next time a balance seems stuck, or a minimum payment feels harmless, remember what you're really looking at. It's an exponential, the most powerful force in personal finance. And it is always, always, always working. The only question is which direction it points. Aimed at your debt, it's a trap that can swallow decades. Aimed at your savings, it's the very same engine that builds wealth. The math doesn't care which side you're on, but you get to choose. If this reframed how you see that little plastic card, you already have the most important tool. You can see the trap now, which means you can step around it. Tell me in the comments, what's the first debt you'd point this math at? This has been the AHA method. None of this is financial advice. Just the arithmetic, laid bare. If it made something click, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.